Hey everybody, welcome back. We're doing another Dark Dimension 4 video. We did the timeline 7-hour stream, then did a video, it was about 30 minutes shortly after that. I'm still getting a ton of questions saying, hey, well, what about this? What about this? Did you think it? And so I thought, you know what? I need to find a way to kind of like bring this all together a little bit quicker, a little bit easier. So I'm going to do one more quick walkthrough on what I did. I've got everything kind of nicely compiled, and then I've actually got an infographic that I think will be the most helpful. So I'll walk through this. Again, I hope this helps you get into your Dark Dimension. Again, right now, this video in 6 to 10 months probably won't be relevant because this is about getting into Dark Dimension early and using usable tunes. So you start with that basis and you try to stack things so that we like the nat chart that I had up last time. So for those of you who were asking if the Patreon is live, yeah, we do have one. It is in the description below. Feel free to come by, come to the Discord. Some of that grants access to some of these sheets and all that. Most of the stuff is free, but for those of you who just want to generally support, obviously we're always going to welcome that. So feel free to come join the Patreon if you want. But otherwise, let's just get to the spreadsheet.
Bring me WolverThor!
If you haven't seen my other video, what this is basically a timeline of stuff for Dark Dimension, so that you got to remember that you've got these multiple traits and you can really only work on one trait at a time. So you've got them stacked. So you got, if you've got bio, you can only do one bio character at a time. When this one's finished, then you get to the next one, and then you get to the next one. So what you like to do is, well, I want to work on bio, skill, tech, mystic, mutant, and so you're stacking your activities is what that's called. So you get them all stacked so they're not end to end. So the more you can stack your activities, the quicker you can get things done. Now the key is going to be, you want to stack activities or characters, and getting them done, you want those characters to be the most useful. Okay, so we want to find the way to get the most useful characters done in the quickest amount of time. And I don't mean just in Dark Dimension 4, I mean in the game. Dark Dimension 4 seems to be challenging, but it's not Dark Dimension 3 challenging. So that means you can actually bring some characters into Dark Dimension 4 that you're like, you know what, maybe this character's not going to be great there, but they're not bad, and I can actually use them somewhere else in the game. So what we had before is we had this giant thing, and this was where I was kind of like, hey, don't use Captain America, because it bumped out city, and we're looking in this region here, it bumped out city let's do that. There you go. It bumped out city all the way out because it just kept going and going and going to the point where I was like, well, I clearly can't use Venom. So what I said there is, don't use Captain America. That was the first thing I said. Don't use Captain America because he's gonna make it harder for you to start that stuff. So you can see my comment here is, in the above scenario, city pushes out everything out. Pull back city. So my first comment is, let's use Emma over Cap. Start global later, but you save on bio. So you've still got your Thanos, Sinister Ghost, Black Widow, Emma, and then you've got your global ready to go as soon as you get your Emma done right here. And in the meantime, you're also working on your Proxima, you're working on Minerva, you're working on Hela. In Symbiote Spider-Man, you can work on a little bit earlier because you're not worried about, your Captain America. So that basically sucks everything back, okay? You can see, where these are all pretty much the same, these purple ones, which is your Cosmic. But you see over here, where in this region, you had your city and legendary starting, which was constrained by your city, it pulled all the way back to this way. So it's like, wow, getting rid of Cap alone for Emma does just that. So we continue to look, and it looks like 2.5 months saved based on this information. And we're going to get into something as well about some of the time that Vedronius put together that I think is really going to help some people figure some stuff out as well. So you do that step number one. It's like, okay, you get through that. In the above scenario, you're still got city pushing everything out though. So you've got this big gap here for city pushing everything back. So I challenge myself once again, how are we going to push city out? Okay. So I say again, I need to pull city back. And it's very similar to the one I did the other day where we're talking about drop Carnage for Scream and bring the next cheapest. In this case, I was talking about Murdoch Lieutenant. So you're very familiar with that sheet if you looked at the video the other day. Instead of doing Carnage here, we're looking in this range. Well, it's from here you can see from here to here. Come on, baby. From here to here, that's what we're shrinking this range here for Carnage, okay? And at the same time, I'm dropping the other bio character, Anti-Venom, or rather Carnage, and shortening Scream, and bringing Merc Lieutenant, who can start after Minerva. So then I've got my city starting even sooner. So you can see I've pulled back my city even farther. Now, that does push my Doc Ock out a little bit because of the tech there, but I'm still bringing city back, but I've pushed out my legendary. So I'm like, okay, well that's a problem, that one that we can obviously address. I also did a 2B, so for anybody who wanted to maybe use Punisher instead of Merc Lieutenant. So we've got this section here, where it's like, again, this is very similar to what I talked about the other day, is that we've got Punisher over Merc Lieutenant, because he's a skill. So you're starting Merc Lieutenant, or Punisher, right after Proxima. So here I'm like, okay, all right, I like this. So that means maybe I can pull back my my legendary. I definitely pull back my city some more because Merc Lieutenant's not waiting on Minerva. So this is moved up sooner, but unfortunately, because I currently had Fury, I'm still bumping that out. Obviously, there's things to fix there, right? So we're taking another step. So my comments for these above scenarios is, whether you pick Punisher or Merc Lieutenant, it pushes out Fury or Doc Ock, respectively, depending which one you choose to pick. Maw is also still pushed. So step 3 needs to pull all of that back. Tech, skill, and Mystic. So Tech, we're going to pull back by dropping Minerva. Mystic, we're going to pull back by dropping Hela. I'm keeping Merc Lieutenant because Fury is a skill push, all right? So I drop Minerva for Longshot and Hela for Thor, okay? So in this step 3, I'm dropping Minerva for Longshot. And so I can start Longshot tied to Emma above. I'm like, all right, so he's pushed out here. But you can see, so my Cosmic is dramatically pushed out there, right? So we're going to zoom out just a bit here. So you can see from my scenarios here, my Cosmic was starting here. Well, now I'm pushing it out because that long shot push is tied to Emma. That'll be something we address here shortly, okay? But you can see that my city is still around the same and my legendary is still around the same. So I'm like, all right, I'm not doing a lot here except for pushing out my Cosmic a lot. But my city is basically done by I do that. So I'm like, all right. So I've changed, Thor changed some things around. That's great. But ultimately, I've still got Longshot pushing out the Cosmic section because of Emma. So my comment here is, in the above scenario, Cosmic Longshot, due to Emma, pushes out City and Legendary, the Phoenix start. And so step 4 needs to pull back Longshot and Phoenix. So I need to pull back basically Mutant. So my comment here is, what do? Drop Emma for Sabretooth, all right? So this is the part where it's like, now, is that something you normally want to do? No, Emma's way better than Sabretooth, but Sabretooth is on Marauders, and it's not gonna, it's like, that's one of the best defenses in the game. So I don't mind dropping Emma on the first run to get in sooner, and this is something I want to emphasize. Dark Dimension 4 is about getting more gear, tier 15 gear. Okay, I'm gonna say that again. It's about getting gear 15. More uniques, more SBCs, etc. It's great that you get Doom, but it's really about getting more gear to put on your tune. So you can get Emma on that second run. So we're dropping Emma for Sabretooth, which you will see dramatically changes. Okay, so let's zoom out big time here. All right, so we're in this section here. We are in this section here. And we're comparing this. See how this purple dropped back? I shaved a whole bunch of time by doing that, because now my Sabretooth and my Longshot was here. Now he's way back here. So that's amazing. And it pulled back my Phoenix, which was way over here, which was pushing the end of that. She's now here. And I've got different constraints on my Legendary. This is Doc Ock in blue. This is Ebony Maw in purple. And I've got Nick Fury, who's pushing it out. Now, I did want to show Invisible Woman on this chart, because if I use Invisible Woman over Nick Fury, because she's tied to Scream above, it still pushes everything. So it's kind of like, all right, Invisible Woman doesn't really save me here. But this step 4 is actually a really good option for people, where it's like, okay, I can this, the characters I'm using here are Sinister, Black Widow, Ghost, Sabretooth, Thanos, Proxima, Longshot, and Thor. Symbiote Spider-Man, Anti-Venom Scream, Merc Lieutenant, that's really solid. And then Phoenix, Maw, Doc Ock, and Fury. Not bad. And again, Invisible Woman doesn't really save you for Fury, okay? So this all led me to be like, all right, well, I think I could probably play, and this is, based on where we're at today. So I was like, I want to do something, and all of this stuff, by the way, check out this infographic. It helps. It's something Punk and I put together where you can kind of see real quickly the costs of the characters. So we've got the columns with each, trait, and then the cost of the Gear Tier 15 uniques go across. And each column is separated into Global, Cosmic, and City. And we put the legendaries at the top. So this thing should, in theory, help you, right? And this, what I was saying, was just trying to give you an idea. Don't build end over end, okay? Now, another thing I want to show you guys, which Vedronius, and that's from Notorious. Okay, if you don't know that, go Google it. They put together, and I don't know if it was Vedronius by himself or how they kind of put this together, if it was Remen and all those guys. But on the Orbs tab of this spreadsheet, which they put together, let me get that logo out of there for you guys. Go logo away. There we go. So in this section up here, we'll zoom in a bit more. What they did is they calced a whole bunch of data points to figure out how long it takes to get some white credits, red credits, basically get currency to be able to get more Gear Tier 15 uniques. This math is right. Joel Tidebringer checked it. I checked it, at least for the white and red credits. It's good. I think just trust that it's right here, okay? So make sure to get an updated sheet here. What they did is they've got some totals over here so you can see what you need, and they also did something with the remaining as well. So it shows here how much you need and how much you have remaining. Long and short of it, it tells you how long it's going to take to get it. Okay? Trust, we've got at least 3 people who claim to know or do spreadsheets, do math, all checking this, and it looks good. Okay? So take my word for it, I guess. Now, the nice part is you can play around with where you're at. So if you're only in gold 3 and you don't want to pay for the battle pass, that's how long it's going to take you. Well, you know what? You're going to do all 50 core refreshes? Okay, that's what it's going to take you. All right, so for me personally, I'm in Plat 1. I'm going to do, I'm going to pay for the battle pass. And let's just say I'm not refreshing, okay? So that's about 3.25 months to get what I need, which is not too bad. That's not bad, right? And then, it's like, well, what if I want to do the refreshes? All right, that shortens it a little bit. All right, let's take that off. What if I want to buy an offer? What if I want to buy 4 of those offers? You get 4 at a time. All right, well, wait a minute. Whoa. Did you guys catch that? So let's zoom in there. This is an important part of this that everyone needs to understand, especially people who are trying to be smart about their money. So that logo keeps getting in the way. Let's just go, dot. So right now I've got 4 offers, right? So what did I say before? If I had no offers, so 3.26 months to 3.03 months? Let's do some math there, right? So I had and I did this with a different version earlier, but basically you save about 8 to 9 days in doing those. If you spend $100, you save 8 or 9 days. You decide if that's worth it to you. Is that worth it to you? You decide that. Is it worth it to me? It's not worth it to me. So the other part of this was doing the same thing with the cores, because that's another part that people like to play with, and what it shaves. So I did the same thing before and after, where it was like all 50s, 2.63, 3.26. And I did the same thing down here. And again, this is slightly different, but it saves you basically, 28 days, which to me that's pretty good but it's like 400 cores a day, I think Vedronius was saying. So anyway, they made this tool. Check it out. It helps you figure out, plan, if you want to spend money or not, how much that money's going to gain you. This is another time factor out there. So, I went, end over end, showing you guys all this stuff, trying to show you kind of what it was, all that. Now, what this culminated for me is something I'll walk through here in a second, which I will get to I'll get to the infographic in a second. So my final team, what I ended up doing with this is like, all right, if I was starting everything over, and I've done nothing, what would I do? Well, I want to stack as much as I can for those first no traits. I need 5 characters. So the way to do that, is I said Thanos, Sinister, Ghost, Sabretooth, and Zemo. Okay, now you could also throw Scream into that, depending if you can finish her first. Okay, so Scream plays in, maybe you get her done before Zemo, maybe you get her done before you finish Sabretooth after Sinister. Sinister and Ghost are definite, the other three are kind of up in the air, but Thanos, knowing that you're probably going to use him in Arena and Cosmic, he's probably going to be your third, and then you can play around with 4 and 5. And then right after that, you can start all these other tunes, right? And you can see in different sections here. So Global, I don't have anything in Global because I'm already done. I had Ghost, Zemo, Sinister, and Sabretooth. So I'm done. And again, like, that will get me through. It's not great, but it's going to get me through because I've got to wait a while for Cosmic anyway. So I'm like, okay, so if I've got to wait for Cosmic, let's stack my Cosmic section. All right, so I've got Proxima, Longshot, and Thor again all stacked. All right, because I've already got Thanos done. Great, all right. So then I've got City shortly after that, and I'm starting my bio earlier. Right after Scream, I'm into Symbiote Spider-Man. I then also throw in Merc Lieutenant to go after Ghost, and I still do Anti-Venom, which does push things out a little bit. You know, you can play, I show some stuff with Punisher down here that maybe brings that back some, but all in all, it's going to be a bit after, right? And then with Legendary, same concept. Let's stack as much as we can. And you see this stuff. It's stacked, okay? So we've got Doc Ock, Nick Fury, and Phoenix Maul. Now, if you want to get rid of Fury because it pushes it way too far out, it's not a bad idea. You can ditch Fury, bring in Punisher. You can ditch Anti-Venom, and then obviously with Punisher there. And then you can bring in Invisible Woman, and you bring everything. You see this right here? This was where my Legendary was. It's now here. So you could ditch Fury for that and be a lot easier. Now, the culmination of all of this, after it's all done, 7 hours of streaming, you know, talking behind the scenes, talking to people, talking to you guys, having conversations, you know, analyzing it over and over and over, is this infographic. Okay, so I ended up putting together, I wasn't able to get with Punk on this. We're still working together for anybody. This is a quick throw together. Don't judge me. I understand. Punk is way better, and he will continue to do all of the infographics we work on in the future. I just had to throw something together. So this is the Dark Dimension 4 at release quick entry usable tunes. So, you know, I got the first in, and you can see, like I said, you know, you've got this kind of combo here where it's like maybe these, you know, one of these is ready before the other. I expect Scream's going to be ready, so you're going to probably look at something along those lines. And then I went into Global, and I'm like, all right, and I've got the must-haves, you know, the next up, cheap alternates. I put in here please don'ts. Cap, like I talked about, bio. Trooper, I understand Trooper is cheap. I really get it. But again, I urge you guys to use someone that's going to be usable. SBCs, these other superior gears are still valuable. You want to put them on tunes that you can get in there early with. I don't think you need to waste them on Trooper. And the only reason I'm okay with Sabretooth is because he's on Marauders, which is one of the best war defenses in the game. Cosmic right after that. We've already talked about Proxima and Thanos. We've talked about Longshot and Thor. Part of me just loves these two next to each other because of the mullet situation. Some folks were really liking Strange as a cheap alternate. I know a lot of people are talking about Mordo. They love Mordo. I'm telling you, please don't. The only reason I'm saying cheap alt with Strange is because he's cheaper, and you know what? Like, if you're using Supernatural, while I get it, Mordo's important, you know, Strange, if he can live and not be messed with, the team's gonna win. Like, my Mordo dies all the time, and so, but if Strange and I'll win. But if my Strange dies, it's another ball game. So because I know some people like Doctor Strange and he's cheaper, I was like, well, that's a potential cheap alternate. I get people talking about Mordo. I know some people did it. Personally, I'm like, please don't. City, like we talked about, Symbiote Spider-Man, Scream, Anti-Venom next up, cheap alternates, Punisher, Merc Lieutenant. I'm saying please don't the Vulture. He is tech, but he doesn't really have a place in the game right now. Mine's 6 red stars, so understand that it's even painful for me to put him on there. That's the next group here. And then Legendary, I've got the must-have 3 with Doc Ock, Maul, and Phoenix. Next up, you could probably argue between Invisible Woman and Fury, but Invisible Woman is the cheap alternate. And the please don't, I can't believe I'm even putting him on here because he's a fantastic tune, is Black Bolt. But because of the bio grind, at this point in time, like I mentioned, for the at-release, quick entry, usable tunes, I wouldn't recommend using Black Bolt in this mode because it's gonna handcuff you somewhere else. Okay? So hopefully that was a little bit quicker from the other one. This infographic's gonna be out there. You can refer people to the infographic. If they want further explanation, refer them to this video. Appreciate you guys stopping by. Discord link in the description below. Share with your alliance mates, aunts, uncles, grandmas, grandpas, cousins, nieces, nephews, all that kind of stuff. Hammer down that like button, notification bell, subscription button. You know the drill. And until next time, I hope you have a wonderful day.